History of Aviation podcast with Derrick Beeler, David Rowe, and David Gorman.
Oh, a microphony.
And a phony at the mic.
Hello and welcome to the History of Aviation podcast. I'm Derrick Beeler. Thanks for making us a part of your day. Today I'm joined by Mr. David Rowe and Dave Gorman for this bonus episode. The reason for this bonus episode, you might be asking yourself, well, our own Dave Gorman just returned from the Great American Air Show in Smyrna, Tennessee, and is here to tell us about it. Dave?
Well, hey, guys, good to see you. I hate that I was the only one of the three that were able to make it over to the show, but it was a great show. It was one that there was a lot of discussion ahead of time about the lineup and the prices. And I mean, all those things are a part of air shows in 2023. I mean, you don't get everything you want. And sometimes it's more expensive than you want. You always have a choice to not go. It stinks to let that be a part of why you don't go. But I certainly get it. And I've made that decision about some shows myself. But this one worked out where I was able to go with a couple of buddies. Shout out to Bruce and Darren, who were with me when I went up to Louisville about 2 months ago. So it was good to be standing there watching airplanes again at this air show. Darren was a big help with camera settings as well. I still need help with that. He was helpful with reminding me to adjust for props from jets and vice versa. You would think I would remember that, but it was a big help. I also want to give a shout out to a kid named Keegan. I believe that was his name. I apologize if I missed it, but hopefully he's listening. Keegan is about 11 or 12 years old, and he and his mom were looking at an airplane, and she saw my shirt. I was wearing the History of Aviation podcast shirt that are brand new and available soon for our listeners. And she asked me about the podcast, and I started talking to her and talking to her son. He just got back from the aviation camp down in Huntsville, and Mom was telling me about a high school in Middle Tennessee that has this incredible aviation program that they have as part of their STEM programming at the high school. And he's hoping that he'll be able to get into that. And I'm going to tell you, if he's thinking about that already, going into sixth grade, I'm pretty sure he's going to do what it takes to get there in a couple more years. So good luck to you, my friend, and check in with us. I hope you're listening. The show itself featured the Blue Angels to close out the show, but we had a nice smattering of some other high-performance aircraft. We had some things like Mustangs, and there were two Mustangs that were scheduled to fly. One of them had a mechanical and was not able to get up in the air, but Quicksilver was there along with the F4U4 Corsair that Jim Tobel flies. Always great to see those guys. Although they didn't do a class of 45 performance, they both were there doing other things. There was a classic jet, a T-33 that flew. Skip Collier was flying, and that's a fantastic aircraft to see. Put out a tremendous display, lots and lots of nice back and forth passes, and got to see the top, the side, the bottom of that plane, and so he really gave it a good ringing out in the skies. The Sky Raider, known as Bad News, was there, and so going back to Vietnam era, great looking Sky Raider. I love Lieutenant America, and it's my favorite, but Bad News is tricked out with all kinds of ordnance on the wings, and it really looks good that way. And lots of nice passes, even a 360, kind of like a minimum radius turn that the pilot performed, which was cool to see in a Sky Raider. So some good ringing out of those planes. The Navy was represented by a couple of F-35 Lightning IIs. And those, one guy put on a heck of a show, and then the other guy joined up with the Corsair, and they did a Navy heritage flight. And, you realize that just how controllable those F-35s are. They really look great in the sky. Tough shooting conditions with a plane that has kind of a couple of different shades of gray, and the sky was a couple of different shades of gray and then sunny. And so lots, again, of adjusting literally on the fly. trying to stay a little bit ahead of the photography curve there. But a great performance by the F-35s. The F-22, I'm sorry, but it just steals the show. There's nothing like a well-flown F-22, and these guys live for the show. This thing just falls like a leaf. It turns on a dime. It looks great with its passes, great performance and everything. Did not fire flares like the one we saw up in Louisville, but it still was a fantastic performance. The weapons bay pass that they do. Now the F-35 does a similar pass where they open their weapons bay, but it's a great looking airplane. They did the F-22 Cobra maneuver, which I'm not positive I'd seen before. But if you're familiar with that move, as it's coming across, it yanks back on the stick and climbs quickly and kind of ends up flattening out at the top of the climb and looks a little bit like the shape of a cobra that's getting ready to strike. So impressive display. And I'll tell you, the Blues they had a few issues. They put on a great performance, but they had a maintenance issue with plane number 2. Apparently their heads-up display was not quite, just wasn't communicating. And I was listening to the pilot talk, and they weren't talking a whole lot on the public channels on the scanner, but I could hear them discussing that it was a issue with the heads-up display. They replaced that, and then they tried to do their takeoff after about a 15-minute delay. And first 2 planes got up without any difficulty. The next 2 planes are right behind them in the takeoff formation. Mm-hmm. And they didn't take off. And, they mentioned about you see the smoke on, and the smoke will go off when they go into afterburner. And that's true. The smoke that the Blue Angels put out there turns off during the afterburner. When they put their afterburners on for takeoff, it didn't turn off. And I was like, why is that smoke still on? And it really worried me. There's that awful history in Smyrna with the loss of a Blue Angel and a pilot 7 years ago. And I was like, oh, no. There was, we couldn't tell what happened, but I heard them talking over the radio about a rejected takeoff. And apparently, I guess they continued to have issues with the HUD. The other pilot did not. He did not take off either. I guess they decided it wasn't safe to try to do that with them both so close on the runway, for one to take off and the other one not to. The opposing solos both got up in the air, but for a while we had just 2 plane diamond formations, and the opposing solos doing their thing. So they were doing their performance as best as they could with just the 2 planes. Then airplane number 4 took off and joined up. So we had 3 plane for a while. And then the pilot of aircraft 2 traded out with and got into the 2-seater aircraft number 7 and took off maybe about 10 minutes after things got going, and then joined up for proper 4-plane diamond and 6-plane formation flying. So they salvaged it, and I kept thinking, oh, well, this is kind of cool. I'm getting pictures of 2-plane and 3-plane formations when it usually is 4, so a little bit different. And apparently, safety was never compromised. It was all good, and they put on a great show. The crowd was really appreciative. So, bravo to the organizers at the Great Tennessee Air Show. They put on a great show. I wish I could say the same for their plan for getting everybody out of the show afterwards.
Yeah.
Like I say, the most dangerous part of an air show is trying to get there and then trying to get home. And patience was required. I heard that there were people who were in line for 2 hours to get out, and I don't know what the solution is, but they knew they were sold out on Saturday. They had people waving you in, and not so many people waving you out on the way out. So better luck next time. It's a great show.
Well,
definitely, I'm glad I went to.
If you go to an air show like that and it's going to be that crowded, I work at Bristol Motor Speedway, and I have told people this for years. We can get, over 100,000 people at a race. You're going to have to wait after the event. There's just too many people, too many cars. You're going to wait. So go in with the attitude. Okay, I'm going to wait. Bring a cooler, bring some food, bring something to drink, sit at your car, have a snack, talk, reminisce, talk to some people near you. Just wait. Don't be in such a hurry to get home because you're not going to get home. Thanks. Trust me, I've got 20 years of experience at this. You are not leaving in a hurry. Now, Granted, they could have had a few more people out there and directing traffic and organizing it better. And Bristol Motor Speedway has that down to an art. We have people one way, go, 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 and we get you out as quick as possible. But at the same time, you've got to change your attitude when you go to these things. Bring something to eat and drink, some chairs, sit, relax, and you will get home just fine. See, even the dog agrees with me.
She just noticed somebody walking by here. Well, a reminder with this air show, the folks who put it on, they do this every 2 years if they can. So they don't have the practice that other events do, other venues do that do this on a pretty regular basis. But spot on with the comment about packing a cooler so that while you're waiting, you can get some water. A lot of the vendors were sold out or they'd stopped selling, and there were still a lot of people there to shoot statics. There were probably some people waiting until way after hours to get departures.
I wouldn't know who you're talking about there. No clue. No, none whatsoever.
No, but you're right. You just got to plan ahead and factor in some wait time, and you can't get upset about it. It was a great show, and oh my gosh, I almost forgot the opening ceremonies. They had a guy come in with the American flag and the POW flag. They had a Tennessee flag. I guess they had 3 or 4 jumpers. One of the jumpers came right over our head and just barely, coming in from kind of behind the crowd, barely cleared the fence and got his feet down. And he didn't stick the landing. We'll put it that way. He didn't get hurt, but he came over my head by about 12 feet. So very.
Wow.
I wish my pictures were better, but I was trying to decide, am I in trouble here? I need to duck. Yeah.
I wish I'd have been there to video that. That would have been something to see.
Well, it would have been. I'm sure somebody's got it on video. That's for sure. But definitely glad to have an air show in Tennessee this year that I could attend. They had representatives from the Music City Squadron. They were showing off their new SNJ that they have. Trying to let folks know about, I think they have a fly-in, an event that they're doing. It's not an air show, but they're doing an event over there in the Lebanon area later on this month. I think the 24th or something is when they're doing that, which looks pretty interesting. And they're trying to get folks interested in joining their squadron over there. They had a growler on the ground that you could walk right by, and I took some pictures of the pods on the wings, a thing that is a signature feature of the growler that sets it apart from other FA-18s. Some great merch. Man, oh man, I spent about $45 in about 7 minutes. Wait a minute, what am I doing? But there was some really cool shirts and challenge coins and koozies and great things, so it's a good show. They had stuff for kids and stuff for big kids too, so next time hopefully you guys will be able to get over there too.
Hopefully, for sure. Dave Gorman, thanks for joining us today for this bonus episode and telling us all about the Great American Air Show. I'm sure I know you took some pictures and videos. Tell folks where they can go check those out.
Well, my Instagram, that _ it's Dave Gorman on Instagram. I will have pictures there soon. I put a few up, but I've got a bunch more that I've taken. Still sorting through them. Shot a couple of videos, and they're cell phone videos, so they're not anywhere near as good as you can find there. But Gormania is the name of my YouTube channel, so you can search them up there and check them out. And I may, depending on how I feel about them, I might share them and attach them as a link to some of these on our other social medias for the History of Aviation podcast.
David Rowe, go over your social media with us.
Aerophile.com, AEROWEPHILE.com. I've got a whole bunch of stuff from the recent commemorative Air Force visit to Tri-Cities Airport. Just finished everything up this weekend, and I will have a lot of videos of Fifi, B-29 Super Fortress, Diamond Lil B-24, P-51 Mustang gunfighter, and several other smaller planes. You will have lots to watch very shortly. Come check me out.
Good deal, guys. I enjoyed it. Our first bonus episode.
There you go.
Yeah.
And
yeah. Hopefully next time I'll be there at the air show to be a part of that.
There you go. Me too, for sure. And the History of Aviation podcast, we are located everywhere. We have our own website. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter. You can check out all those links below. Go check out our YouTube page as well. We got some great videos and some shorts on there for that. So for David Rowe, Dave Gorman, I'm Derrick Beeler. Thanks for listening to the History of Aviation podcast.
This is Joe Morse. You are listening to the History of Aviation podcast with Derrick Beeler, David Rowe, and David Gorman.